Eric had his own run-in with a celebrity in his senior year in high school when he painted a portrait of James Brown.
It was 1969. I had just finished a portrait of James Brown, a very young James Brown. In this particular painting, he still had the process in his hair. It was from the Out of Sight album he recorded back in the 50s. I found out that James Brown was getting ready to come to Miami. And I'm thinking if I could do a painting of him present day with him starting to grow his fro. So I found an album that had been released. It's called Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. And it had the perfect photo of James on the cover. So that's what I used for my present day portrait of James Brown. Both of the paintings were the same size. They were about 2.5 feet by 4.5 feet, about the size of a small refrigerator. Pretty large paintings. I barely got them to fit into the back of my Volkswagen. The only other thing I needed to do was get me a real nice outfit. Dipped into my lawn care money and went to Jackson Barnes, right across the street from Jackson. The block across the street from Jackson was like a block out of downtown Miami. We had jewelry stores, we had a bakery over there, shoe stores, 5 and dime, ice cream shop. It was a beautiful stretch of 36th Street, right across the street from the school. So the department store was Jackson Barnes. Went in there, found me a black 3-piece mohair suit, double-breasted vest, bought me a spanking new white shirt, white necktie, white tie, white hanky, and I went downtown and purchased a pair of brand new imitation from Tom McCann alligator shoes. Man, I'm going to see James Brown. I got to be clean, you know what I'm saying? I got to be clean to the bone going to see JB. Okay, so I'm all set. Showtime comes, I jump in the bug, got my paintings, and I'm rolling. Got to the fronton 3 hours before the show was going to start. And I'm walking up to the ticket booth, and I heard someone call my name. Eric Jenkins. So I look, and it's this fine black sister with this incredible afro waving me over. She was about 10 feet from where I was standing, and she was waving me over. And I walked over, and I guess she sensed that I did not recognize her, and I did not. And she said, "You don't remember me?" And I'm like, "No, sorry." She said, "Man, your mom and my mom used to do missionary work over in South Bay. You don't remember being brought over to this house, and there was a white baby grand piano in the living room, and we used to try and play the piano and sing songs? My older brother was the one that was our babysitter." And then when she mentioned that white piano, the memory started coming back. And I'm like, oh my God, I do remember. I was talking to Betty Wright, Miami's own, the cleanup woman, Betty Wright, at a very young age. Betty was only about maybe 14 at the time, and she'd already recorded a couple of songs. And her career was taking off. She was doing real well. And she said, "Come on, follow me." And she took off inside the auditorium. down this hallway, and I'm trying to keep up with her. She was walking really fast. And I'm trying to keep up in these tight imitation alligator shoes that I hadn't quite broken in yet. You know, we're walking on carpet. It was a little slippery. And I got the paintings flying in the wind. And we go down this long row of seats, made a couple of turns. And before I know it, I'm standing right in front of the godfather of soul himself, James Brown. Right in front of me. And I held the paintings up. And James was being interviewed by a reporter. And James asked the reporter to hold on a second. He said, hold on a second, man. Let me see what this young brother got going on here. And Betty kind of cut in. She said, Mr. Brown, this is a childhood friend of mine. He's a senior at Miami-Jackson Senior High School. And he's done these paintings, and he wanted you to check them out, see if you might be interested in purchasing one of them, or possibly both. So I said, yes, sir, Mr. Brown, my name is Eric Jenkins. I held the paintings up a little closer to him, and he's observing the paintings, and he looked at the painting with the process. And he said, man, I don't do that process hair anymore. And then he looked at the other painting from the Black and Proud album with the fro. He said, I like this one a lot. He said, I tell you what, I'm going to buy this one from you tonight. And if you change the hair on this other one, I'll purchase it also. And at that point, he had his 2 or 3 guys on one side of him sitting, and 2 or 3 guys on the other side of him sitting. I guess that was his entourage. And he asked one of the guys sitting next to him to take my paintings and put them in the dressing room. And when he did that, it vacated a seat right next to him. And he told me, he said, come on, bro, sit down. Sit down. You're going to be part of the entourage for the rest of the night. You're going to have a ball. If you need anything, just let me know. And I'll take care of you. You can hang out with the boys tonight. So, man, there I was sitting next to the godfather, Betty Wright, smiling from ear to ear. And I just felt like I was on top of the world.
A high school football injury prevented Eric from accepting a college football scholarship. He accepted a Miami-Dade Junior College Head Start scholarship in 1969. He completed 2 years and was offered another scholarship to Florida Atlantic University. The Greater Bethel AME Church remained the spiritual foundation for the family for many years. Helen Felder was the Sunday school superintendent for many years. She also served on the P.H. Felder board, the board named after her father. Eric Jenkins also played several roles within the church, including Scoutmaster his senior year in high school and beyond.
I named the drill team, Troop 75 was our troop number. Now, Greater Bethel AME Church had the first uniform Boy Scout troop in Miami. There was a church up north, but they had the first Boy Scout troop in Miami, but they didn't have uniforms, okay? We had the first uniform troop in Miami. And you know, I made the uniforms funky, man. So I named the drill team the Christian Rifles Drill Team. I'm up at Florida Atlantic, right? Black History Month rolls around. So I wanted to bring the drill team up to perform for Florida Atlantic. And I did. Got the boys up there on the lunch break. You know, all of our 16 black members were out. A lot of the white folks came out, good white folks came out. And man, we started stepping, and Lord have mercy. They stopped me. They, Mr. Jenkins, stop. Let us get a film crew. And they ran off and came back with a film crew. And they filmed my boys, man. Golly. I'm talking 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids in full dress. And they filmed it, put it on 16 millimeter movie film. And I would show that. I showed it to a lot of people. And now I'm at Miami-Jackson High School teaching. And they have ROTC at my school. And they wanted to start a drill team. And I showed it to my students. And the word got out. Mr. Jenkins got this awesome video of these kids performing drills. So the ROTC commander came down. He said, Mr. Jenkins, we heard you got some film of drill team. Can we use that? I said, sure, man. And I let that coordinator for ROTC borrow my film. I just forgot about it. You know what I mean? And then after about, I don't know, 7, 8 years, I needed my film for something. And I'm like, oh my God. And the guy was no longer at the school. I couldn't even remember his whole name, and I just could not find my 16 millimeter clip of those guys. But those guys were incredible. To stop the classic parade, all right, the classic parade going down the street, and people would run out and block us so we couldn't pass, so we could hit a little step. Because they would see us a block down hitting a step, you know what I mean? And then, you know, now it's double time, we got to catch up. So the guys are running, you know, trying to close the gap in the parade, and they would block the street so that they could see those guys perform. They were incredible.
In 1973, Eric graduated from Florida Atlantic University and returned to Miami-Jackson High School to teach. Later that year, Mother Helen died and was buried at the historic Black Evergreen Cemetery.
Evergreen is on probably about 44th Street and about 29th or 30th Avenue. My sister is the only one in Lincoln. All of my other family is in Evergreen. Now, the condition of those cemeteries, this made big headline news in the black community, I would say about maybe 6, 7 years ago. And they were supposed to do something in terms of restoring that cemetery and getting it serviced on a regular basis, you know. But I mean, there's so much history. Lord have mercy, there's so much history out there in that cemetery. It's unreal. And to go out there now and you see trash all over the place, grass growing up like weeds, things broken, disturbed. It's really sad. It's sad, so sad. Up until, I would say, about 3 years ago, I would go to the cemeteries and clean the grave sites of my family. And it was an every year thing for me, you know, around Memorial Day. But the grass would grow over the graves and the dirt would pile up. And I used to have to go out there with a shovel and you know, clean the graves. And it got to the point where I couldn't even find my mother's grave. So I had to stop going. I had to stop going because it was just too emotional for me, man, to go out there. But I plan to resume. I plan to resume my activities at those graveyards, and I'm praying about that and asking God for strength. But that's a very sad part of my life in memory of my family.
By the early 1980s, the city of Miami experienced a dramatic demographic shift, with more than half of its residents with a Hispanic background. Approximately a quarter of its residents were Black, and the remaining residents were white. Black people found their economic situation changing with the changing demographic.
The only thing that I could add to that would be in the community, a lot of jobs that were held by Blacks at one certain point in time, with the influx of the Hispanics coming in, a lot of those jobs started turning Hispanic. When the government officials that's running the city of Miami started turning Hispanic, okay, of course they're looking out for their own, you know? Yeah, I can't blame them for that, but it did affect the Blacks in Miami, and it still does. To this day, it does affect every aspect of our lives, man, and our livelihoods.
Today, at Northwest 54th Street and 17th Avenue, is a street named for Arthur Lee McDuffie. In 1979, McDuffie lost his life after he was stopped by police officers due to a traffic violation.
That was a blow and a slap in the face, man, to the Black community. Body cams would have really helped with that one. But this guy runs a red light, man. An insurance salesman runs a red light, and these four officers, caught up with him, beat him to death with flashlights. Four cops. And they took the trial out of Miami, okay? Tried him in Tampa, and 4 cops walked. Janet Reno was the prosecutor at the time, and I think she did an admirable job of trying to get justice for the McDuffie family, okay? But those cops got off scot-free, and all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose in the city of Miami. It was really, you talk about the Watts riots, Miami had, you know, the equivalent of the Watts riots in Miami, Florida. It was, I think 18 people died, over 400 people injured. Brownsville, the city of Brownsville suffered the most loss. So many Blacks lost their homes in those riots with all the fires. And there's vacant land right now in Brownsville, lots, man, where there used to be Black businesses in the 50s, man, and they're vacant lots. That city has never recovered. Now it's starting to mend. It's starting to come around. But it's such a shame, you know, when something affects us in our community, it takes 15 years, you know, for it to be set right, for the wheels in the city government to start turning, you know, to make it right. And it happens in the white community, for whatever reasons may be, a couple of years, they back up and running. You know, and Brownsville is a blueprint of how slowly the wheels turn for us. It's always been that way. It hasn't changed.
Meanwhile, Eric continued his tenure as a teacher at Miami-Jackson High School, teaching art and coaching football. He mentored his students and provided support for them when their parents were unable to. He taught for 43 years before retiring in 2016. But he has remained engaged in the community with several projects and art exhibitions throughout the county.